But we do have another match coming up. 4 matches in the book, so still 2 more to go. It's Firebat versus Muzzy. Another closely contested battle here with Firebat being at 5-6 and Muzzy being at 5-5. So with a win here, Muzzy could overtake Firebat in the standings and move him even further down to a negative record at 5-7. Kind of surprising considering Firebat had one of the better starts.
He did. He had a very poor Season 1. In fact, if there was relegation in Season 1, then Firebat would just not be amongst us anymore. But he did have a much, much stronger start to Season 2, started to show, what Firebat is capable of. And as I said, I watch Americas here and there, but based on things I've heard from people I trust, he's been generally playing extremely well, particularly on this deck that he's piloting right now, the Holy Rat Paladin.
All right, so Muzzy. Maybe he watched the matchup from earlier where Just Saying, who has, I believe, the same warrior list as he does, made maybe one crucial error in not saving the shield block and maximizing life/armor gain.
The more I sit and think about it, and I've received like a couple of messages in breaks as well, like I think there were multiple spots where he took losing lines instead of winning ones.
Okay.
I think there were times where that Dr. Boom should have been in play, like that 7 armor should have been gained at some point that locked out the game. So yeah, I mean, basically I'm still very firmly team double weapons project, double Eternium Rover, double shield block warrior in this matchup.
But you can see why, I assume.
Yeah.
Face me, you meddling moron.
Like as a pleb like me, when I look at players like Just Saying play and I assume that they're playing super well and they lose without like going back and analyzing, which, I did point out early on in the day when we were having this discussion about who's favorite. I said I think it's just kind of a micro and even macro lines from some of the players that are playing Warrior that are putting them in wrong positions.
Right. And, it's a super hard matchup to navigate from both sides. And, I'm not going to sit here and be overly critical because I didn't notice anything in the moment particularly to call out apart from the 1 or 2 minor things that we do. And, I can't just be, like, informed after the fact of things that players have done wrong and then come back and call them out for it. Like, that's massively hypocritical. I'm not going to do that. What's next? I'm just going to call Muzzy a choke artist?
Die-hard Hearthstone fans would understand that.
Yeah.
Second Hecklebot in hand, too. Though he doesn't have a way to... Actually, I guess he ripped Hecklebot last year and didn't have a way to kill it. But if you force a Baleful Banker out, then that's a win anyway.
Yes. It's also just a nice, juicy 3-8 that you can get on the board and start hitting your opponent with, which is pretty sweet.
Mwah!
Yes.
Drawing a lot of minions. And no Shavali yet.
Firebat, crucially, is on double True Silver in his Paladin deck, which increases his damage output by quite some amount against a warrior. He loses 1 Consecration in replacement to that, which is 2 or 3 damage, depending on how often you're getting it paired with Blood Mage. You're replacing that with 8 a lot of the time. And that 8 is very real because it's pretty rare that both of your True Silvers are going to get cut down by removal options from the warrior. It's, again, the warrior doesn't draw cards quite as quickly as you do, so their possibilities of lining up the perfect removals against everything you do are not that high.
And if they do use, the double weapon removal on both of your True Silver champions, a lot of times you have Ashbringer to kind of make up the damage.
Yep.
Though it does kind of interrupt the 60 damage over 3 turns.
That.
Holy moly!
That Dillo, though.
The light bends.
There was ever a time where you play for tempo in this matchup. It's right about now.
When our Mega Dillo gives your hand +12/+12. Dillo, he sounds so sad when he dies. Makes me think about the meaning of life.
Wow. Didn't know Hearthstone had the power to make you feel things like that, TJ.
It does.
This from Muzzy, every minion dies, takes 0 face damage.
Yep. Hecklebot, even with Shivala drawn, still has a chance to be pretty impactful if it pulls out a Baleful Banker.
Yep. It also means that, you know, this is rarely going to happen, but say Muzzy looks at this hand and just goes, I have big stats. Big stats hurt opponent, play all my things, don't armor, and then, you know, Firebat has to like panic in response and go, okay, maybe this is now a 1 Holy Wrath plus Tyrion game or whatever. If at any point he Shivalas and shuffles it back into his deck when his deck size is small, that's a nightmare for him because the second Hecklebot can absolutely punish.
Yep.
Again, that is almost never going to happen because it's just not how you play the matchup, but it could come up in some weird worlds.
When you have 2 buffed 2 Mordants, a buffed Ziliax, and a buffed Hecklebot.
Yeah. I mean, a byproduct of that is that Muzzy's going to want to play this big Hecklebot at some point just to get it into play because it's huge.
Well, Baleful Banker drawn, so Firebat dodges that for now. As far as his combo pieces go, he has already played Acolyte of Pain, so there's no possibility for like an overdraw on the Holy Wrath.
What now?
So in a pretty good spot, I think. He's got a lot of his stuff. It's just, you know, he's kind of running low on card draw, considering Crystology is just an Elven Archer draw.
Yeah,
at this point.
Looks like it.
So he has Crystology and Hammer of Wrath as card draw options. But, I mean, he's only got 9 cards left in his deck. He still has a Prismatic Lens left and the Novice Engineer in hand. And actually double Flash of Light. So I think he's pretty smooth sailing, honestly.
It does look good.
And Muzzy kind of having, I mean, the way his hand is panned out, he didn't have Eternium Nova early, no shield blocks early. You know, he could still draw those for bursts of armor. Like, you know, after first Holy Wrath, he gets a massive Ziliax because it's buffed. Eternium Rover, you know, Weapons Project, armor up. Like, that's a big burst of health, but is it enough?
One shot, one kill.
So both Pyromancer's gone, Shrink Ray gone, and Equality gone. Problem for Muzzy is that Firebat's at 29. He's got 2 timeouts remaining.
Yeah.
And there's not a great way for him to pressure. Though, sticking these 2 Mordants on the board is a great way to maximize the health that Ziliax could gain post Shivala plus Holy Wrath.
That is very true, yeah. Also means, with the Pyros and the Shrink Rays gone, he's kind of free to just play out this Eternium Rover, because the only thing that really deals with it is Hammer of Wrath, and if your opponent Hammer of Wrath to your Eternium Rover, that means they haven't Hammer of Wrath to your face, so it's basically gained the full 6 armor in that situation anyway.
Yeah.
You've gained 2 armor plus 3 damage away from your face, so it's about as good as it gets.
Yep.
Firebat says, nope, not taking that bait. This is going face.
I hope you like my invention.
Because if you Holy Wrath the Eternium Rover, it's a net 5 health gain for Muzzy.
Correct, yeah.
Even if he attacks into 2 minions with it, it's a net 4 gain. He would have to attack into all 3 for it to be the full.
Exactly, yeah.
And if you consider that, you know, he's most likely going to have to dump a Consecration, then... Okay, starting to pick up some armor. So I think the key here for Muzzy is to make sure that one of these 2 Warrens survives, and to make sure that after the first Holy Wrath comes down, he's at 20 health exactly. So then he goes up to 30 with the Zilliax and then gains the burst of armor afterwards.
Why did you trail off so much?
Efficiency!
Okay. I feel like he just ran out of steam and fell asleep mid-sentence.
So he wants to be at exactly 45 life. Ooh, a little off. 42 currently.
This Goblin Bomb seems important.
Why?
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I was being sarcastic.
I thought it was a... You can't do those things with me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because I'm always trying to look for fringe case scenarios where cards are good. And Goblin Bomb is one that I have not had much time to think about yet.
I
So.
wonder.
Well, double Attorney Rover in play is making this incredibly awkward for Firebat.
Yes. Consecration healed his opponent for 2. Excellent. Muzzy is 1 off that golden number that TJ recommended on the previous turn.
I'm out of cards.
Wait.
I must move quickly.
Go on.
This is 1 damage off lethal.
Is he? 10, 11. His Zilliax is buffed once. So he has 16 plus the 1 tick from fatigue, 17. No, he would have had it with Zilliax Weapons Project, right?
No, because Weapons Project makes him game
Oh,
over.
yeah, he gets in 6 armor. Yeah, I'm picked up. Don't worry.
Well, Omega Assembly into Replicating Menace.
Replicating Menace would be 5, 10, 11, 16, 19. That's 1 off, right?
No, because then he takes 2 ticks fatigue since he
Oh, he Flash of Lighted. Yeah, yeah.
That
Okay.
belongs in a museum.
I think drawing more shield blocks and things seems more consistent. Ooh. You love to see it as the warrior player.
Yeah. So,
So now, what did we learn last series?
What
We don't want to play
now?
any of this armor now. Right?
yeah. Because you want to gain value to Zilliax.
I must choose.
And honestly, Firebat doesn't have time for the Tyrion game plan because he's in fatigue already, and
Yeah.
Muzzy has a big board that he can't clear.
Right.
So this is like a much different situation than last time. Okay. Because next turn, he Zilliax and shield blocks. And Firebat's forced to timeout.
It's time to test your mettle.
Goes to 19, takes a 5-6 off the board. So there's 11, 13 showing. Yeah, he'd be super dead.
I'm out of cards.
Okay, so Muzzy goes up to 37. Zilliax brings him up to 30. Shield block plus armor up. He could even trade in this Eternium Rover.
This is fine, as long as he's above 29. Yeah, this is just the optimal way to do it, right? As long as he's above 29, he can't die this turn. He plays the extra taunt so that there's no way like Shivala pushes minions through or whatever. And then on the following turn, he gets actual max value out of his Zilliax.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
29 is the max damage that he's ever going to take.
I was slightly worried about not having anything to attack Zilliax into if he timeouts, but there's no way for Firebat to kill off his own Shivala.
Yes.
Well, no, there's no way. And this puts more power on the board, which forces Firebat to time out instead of like Zephrys and set up the extra damage the following turn.
Right.
So just like kind of has it won in every avenue.
And every extra turn that Firebat has to spend playing timeout instead of playing Zephyrus and getting a Pyroblast is another turn of fatigue that he's taking.
The pressure really makes a difference.
Yeah. Not only because you are actually pressuring to kill them, but also just having minions in play that don't just immediately die to the Shivalas coming out mean that you have less problems with like what we saw from Saiyan last time, where there was the board that he couldn't kill at the end of the game, right? Like the more minions you have, the more easily you can just kill their board and heal up and not have to worry about it. Like if you have to spend 5 mana on Brawl, it suddenly gets a lot harder to heal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Zephyrus Black Knight. No, he's got 4 left. So this is for Deadly Shot. Okay.
But I don't think he just ever gets there.
Well, so this is, I mean, this is logical because it's the inverse of what we were just saying. Like, Firebat realizes he has to stick things, and he's not going to stick things if Muzzy has a board when he does his thing. So he's trying to do it in a position where Muzzy's not going to have a board to come back at him.
Yeah, but now Muzzy has the second weapons project. Now that Zephyrus is gone, he can use to get rid of the second True Silver Champion swing. Yeah. Which is effectively like a 2 health gain over 3 turns, but honestly, it doesn't even feel like Firebat has 3 turns left.
Right.
So again, just hold on to Ziliax for maximum liking, and don't see any way he loses from here.
Ooh, a nice rusty recycler.
No tomb can hold me.
Get a Clockwork Goblin. Which is a 3-mana 3/3 battle cry, deal 5.
Yeah.
It's time.
So yeah, I think this is like a logical gambit for Firebat to take to get himself a position where maybe if he closes his eyes and dreams really, really hard, his Shivalas might stick to the board.
I'm out of cards.
But with the Zephyrus gone, like Muzzy can even face tank one of these the next turn and then just warpath them all away, and he's just chilling.
It's time.
This is what's supposed to happen, TJ.
Well, he can hit the Restless Mummy, and then he can
Have the two Divine Shield guys.
2 Divine Shield guys.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure that Muzzy can just Rusty. Oh no, he doesn't have Rush.
Nope. It's fine.
Or he can just do this with Tomb Warden.
Somebody order a bomb.
Or this and Zilliax.
Yeah.
There's a lot, so
There's
many different
like,
ways.
Yes. Playing a taunt, 1, essentially.
Yeah.
The victory is yours.
Game 1 goes to Muzzy.
Yep.
Looked a lot smoother from Muzzy's part.
The stillest man alive.
There we go. There's some sort of animation from Firebat. But yeah, that looked like a much smoother navigation from Muzzy from my part.
Yeah.
You started to see him at the end there do some things that certainly make sense after the fact. You know, Bloody Face illuminated a couple of things for us in the post-match interview. You can see he was holding on to armor so that he can take the first hit and then armor back up afterwards. He then even found that second greedier turn. Like, you don't need to panic and Ziliax. Like, the damage is known. It's 29. That's the most they're going to do, unless they have some ridiculously weird setup with, you know, discounted... What?
Oh yeah, discounted things. Okay.
Yeah. Unless they have some ridiculously weird double Holy Wrath discount setup, or like a 1-mana Zephyrus doing some absolute ridiculous nonsense, like who knows. But 29 is the number you play around. Muzzy just got himself above 29 and put himself in a position where a big Ziliax was going to get maximum healing. Firebat recognized that, diverted, which I think was the right thing to do. I think he was close to 0% win rate with whatever line he took.
Yeah.
But if there was a fraction in it, the line he took is probably marginally higher, so I respect him for that. But he was just kind of beat by a bad matchup in that position.
That's right.
A bad matchup executed properly.
Yes. Which is a good matchup in America, so what it appears to be for the other player. But that's game number 1 in the books for match number 5 here. We're going to have to go to a quick break. When we come back, close to wrapping up the day here for America's Grandmasters Day 2, Week 6. Don't go anywhere.
My name is James Kostasich. My handle is Firebat. My username is based off the StarCraft player Firebat Hero. I was a fan of him and watched him on Twitch early on in his career, and then just named myself Firebat because I thought it was cool. Something about me that people don't know, I really hate spending money. I try and save it whenever I can. I recently learned how to repair a dishwasher so that I didn't have to buy a new dishwasher. I like doing stuff like that. I get a really good sense of accomplishment and pride whenever I'm able to salvage something. My favorite Hearthstone Esports memory is winning the 2014 World Championship. That was pretty tough to beat, but I'm hoping that one day I can beat that memory. Being in Grandmasters, to me, means that I get another chance to prove myself and show that 2014 wasn't a fluke and that I am still here to play. I mean, I love playing against my own region because I get to play against a lot of my friends, which is always like really fun and entertaining, and there's so many different mind games. But at the same time, I'd really love to play against Europe and really knock them down a few pegs because they're so cocky all the time. I look forward to winning the most and losing the least. I definitely don't want to lose, and I definitely want to win, so it's really simple.
Mazahidul Islam. I go by Muzzy in game. My username, as you know, my first name is Mazahidul. It's kind of difficult to say for some people, and every time someone calls you, you know, they're gonna have to say, "Hey, Mazahidul." You know, that's long, and you don't want to say that. My friend gave me a nickname, you know, like, "Hey Muzz, hey Muzzy." So I sort of just took that, and you know, name's Muzzy. I took a look at the list of players. Some of them have been more focused on streaming, I would say, in these past few years. I've participated at the highest levels of competition that they might not have appeared in. I'm the player to beat in my group, for sure. The thing that I most look forward to about competing in Grandmasters is the thrill of the competition. It's really why I play Hearthstone. It's what I've enjoyed doing for the past 3-4 years, and it's what I'll continue to enjoy doing, hopefully. I think Hearthstone instinct is definitely my greatest skill set. I think that if I took a break for a while and didn't play the game and came back to new cards, I think I could pilot a new deck fairly well, fairly quickly. People would always mention the term burnout to me. Burnout, burnout, burnout. I didn't know what it was. I would constantly play Hearthstone all the time. I definitely want to have more titles and put my name in Hearthstone history.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to America's Grandmasters. Currently, Muzzy leads 1-0 over Firebat in our 5th series of the day. And you know what? I've enjoyed today, Sottle. It's been a great day of Hearthstone. Fantastic.
Oh, you have no follow-up to that? I thought there was a purpose to that.
No, you were supposed to just like, yeah!
Oh, yeah, that's my personality type for sure. You nailed it. Well done. You picked the right guy for that job.
Frodan would have yahed.
Yeah!
That's what I wanted.
All right.
Muzzy was able to take the win in Warrior versus Holy Wrath Paladin, so he has his Mage and Priest left. Interesting thing to note that we didn't mention earlier is that both players have Highlander Mage in their lineups, which is completely irrelevant since game number 2 is going to be Paladin versus Priest.
It is super interesting, though. It's a deck that has performed well, but isn't trusted by many players. I think there's a couple of examples of that in Grandmasters. Highlander Mage is one of them. Highlander Hunter is one of them. Highlander decks in general. The players that have brought them have generally, said that, oh yeah, I brought it because it has statistically just performed very well. It makes sense to bring it. But it hasn't really become widespread. Not too many players trust it. We've seen Gallen bring it in Americas. We've seen Colento playing it in Europe. I believe Silvername as well, Highlander Hunter in that case. And only just in the last couple of weeks has Highlander Mage started to sneak in to the Europe side of things. TJ, what is that face for? Please tell me.
Just very upset at what you're saying.
Why?
No, I'm just kidding. This is the Elven Archer Christology.
Okay.
Fireman's
I never want to upset you, TJ. You can't say these things to me.
I think that's just kind of like the nature of Highlander decks, right? Is in a small sample size, they look the nuts if they draw their good cards.
Sure.
Alternatively, in a small sample size, they look terrible if they don't draw their good cards.
Sure.
But as you can see, Firebat rewarded for the Coin Wild Pyromancer tempo play. I feel like he makes that play every single time.
Yep, and I was talking about this, I think it was yesterday, that one of the things that really improved my Holy Wrath Paladin win rate was when I realized I was being way too greedy with Pyromancers, and it was Firebat's stream specifically that made me stop and question my Pyromancer play, because I watched him stream some Holy Wrath Paladin. A lot of people had told me he was really good at the deck and I should check out his play. And he was just jamming Pyromancers. Whenever he had the mana to play a Pyromancer, he played a Pyromancer.
Big fan. Yeah, and kind of a awkward looking turn for Muzzy. Imagine if he doesn't play that Pyromancer, that injured Tolvir sticks.
Yep.
Consider.
That hand's starting to look a lot better, but right now with a wild Pyromancer on board, this just looks like a hit, healed, pass kind of turn to me.
Sure does. Ooh, that true silver. Two of those in Firebat's deck. Count them. 2.
This is a Blansamdi game.
Looks like it.
And I don't even want to throw this Light Warden out and make it vulnerable to the True Silver champion.
No, I agree. I think you kind of play to Armet top decks a little bit by holding on to it as well.
Yep.
The one thing Firebat's missing right now is a big mass removal. So Armet, Divine Spirit, and drop 1 or 2 other minions alongside that, depending on how much mana is available. Might be a way out of this for Muzzy.
Firebat's happy to see nothing. Gives him more time to kind of maneuver around this this hand. I wonder if this is a Holy Wrath turn.
I was going to say, Holy Wrath does cost 5.
Yeah, he can Holy Wrath and hold on to this True Silver champion swing.
Yep, I like this.
Ooh.
Well, there goes the Armet plan. Does have 2 1-drops now to go with it if there were an Armet draw, though.
Yeah, I mean, he could just hope that that's a Flash of Light instead of a Subdue.
Sure.
I mean, from Muzzy's perspective, he just has to hope that,
Yeah,
you know, half the cards in Firebat's deck don't exist.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's time to go all in. He could Light Warden, Beaming Sidekick, Divine Spirit.
Sick.
But then that's a pretty good indicator for Firebat to just use the Subdue, which Muzzy knows is a possible threat because you saw the 2-mana card. Obviously, there's, you know, 2 Novice Engineers left.
Baleful Bankers.
Baleful Bankers.
Wild Pyro, Blood
Most
Mage,
of the
Flash
deck is
Light.
2.
Yeah. 2 really doesn't tell you anything.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of 30 cards in the deck cost 2 mana.
Hey, I got you, friend.
But, like we said, Muzzy kind of has to just say, yep, half your cards don't exist.
Yeah. Just kind of has to find himself a win condition and hope that Firebat's hand is like a 7 of spades, a blue eyes white dragon, and a Pikachu.
Sounds like a good hand to me. So I don't see a way that he can get away with no subdue. I mean, he can get away with it. The likelihood that he dies is pretty low if he leaves this Light Warden on board.
He's Firebat. He can get away with whatever he wants.
That's true.
Do you like to play with
Like the full clear, though.
Yep.
Seems responsible. Flash of Light, your Pyro, save the True Silver. Yep, love this.
Ooh. That pretty much had to be a Bonsam.
Yeah, agreed.
And even then, he's starting to draw his 1-drops. He's played both Light Wardens, both Beaming Sidekicks, which means that, you know, he'll pick up a couple of Northshire Clerics, which, you know, not the end of the world. But Muzzy, he did use a Wild Pyromancer, and he only uses one copy of it in the deck. Which means like the play that ETC had that kind of got him back in a Holy Wrath Paladin game, which was Bonsamdi into Northshire Cleric, Wild Pyromancer, Spell, Circle of Healing,
Right.
is not possible. Sure. Chevala's in hand. Not really any big punish for this. Couple of 4/7s?
Start.
Or do you need to get greedy and hope that your next card is Wild Pyroman? Or, sorry, Northshire Cleric.
Yeah.
I wonder.
With one Divine Spirit used, though, like, it's a question of what's faster, right? Like, making some 4/7s and hitting your opponent with them now, or drawing a bunch of cards off Northshire Cleric so you can pick up combo pieces and end the game in one turn. Because speed is the #1 concern for Muzzy right now, because Firebat's deck draws very quickly. He has Acolyte of Pain and Soup Vendor in there, so he draws quicker on average than most other Holy Wrath Paladins in Grandmasters. And then on top of that, he only had 9 cards in his deck remaining at the start of this turn. So Muzzy needs to make something happen fast. And the top card on his deck was not a Northshire Cleric. I think he might just be too slow now, whatever he does from this point.
I hope you like my invention.
Yeah, it sure pretty much sums it up. This is going through the motions personified right now for Firebat. This game is kind of done.
Yeah. I mean, Crystology is dead. Blood Mage Salnos, Novice Engineer, Soup Vendor, Acolyte of Pain, Elven Archer used with the Crystal Smith Kangor in hand.
Out the way. He does not currently have a card draw with the Crystal Smith Kangor because he hasn't taken enough damage this game to be able to activate Soup Vendor.
Oh, no!
The actual definition of first world problem. Could just kill him with 1/1s this game.
I mean, he's pushing 9 next turn.
His Pyro's gone. Like, how does he ever kill this board?
Well, he could go Injured Blade Master with Never Set Rituals. But
Equality Consecration.
Equality
Push
Consecration.
damage.
Yep. It's actually a 3 damage Consecration, too.
All right, Firebat, new challenge. If you cast this second Holy Wrath this game, you have failed as a human being.
Or you cast it without shuffling Shrivala.
Also valid. That is acceptable, yes. That I will allow.
Those are the 2 acceptable outcomes.
Yeah.
He would unlock some kind of achievement.
Oh, yeah?
He's used Shrink Ray, so this equality might have a...
All right. I guess if we're actually going to think about things, this seems responsible.
Oh, no, he's hitting just to draw a card. Because of the Soup Vendor.
Yep. He might still
He's going to do it anyway.
just be clearing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I like it.
mean, he's got 2 timeouts left. Like, this is a done game. With 3 cards left, he can just use the timeouts to stall for the last 2 turns, and then... And that's if Muzzy plays anything of substance.
And again, like Muzzy, yes! Yes!
Yes!
Yes!
You have best.
Oh, okay, that counts. He didn't play it. He didn't play it.
So we had 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 plus...
Hammer of Wrath.
Which is 20, and then
20.
Holy Wrath, which is at least
Some
3.
number, yeah. 23.
23? Yeah, he had lethal.
He had lethal. Achievement unlocked.
Nicely done.
Won a game of Holy Wrath Paladin by beating him down with minions. Plus, no, what was going to happen is he was going to draw Zephyrus for Savage Roar the next turn.
Okay.
That's what was going to happen.
Yeah, or Bloodlust, one of the 2.
Yep.
But Firebat ties up the series importantly. So both players have Mage left in their lineups that are not banned away, I believe. Which means that we could see the elusive Highlander Mage mirror.
Whew.
I don't know if that's going to be the case given the lineups that are left, because Muzzy still has Priest.
Yep.
But maybe that's a detriment because now it's more likely that Firebat gets the Highlander Mage into Priest, which seems like a matchup that he wants.
I would imagine so, yeah. I know from Firebat's perspective, he feels like he's bringing a lineup that has a lot of game against Priest. It's kind of specifically what his lineup is tuned to do. But I would be expecting at least 1 Highlander Mage, let's say, in this matchup.
So it's the opposite of what we expected.
Okay. I mean, yeah, fair.
All right, we'll see if this Highlander Mage is actually the ultimate Priest killer. Muzzy has his lineup teched a little bit differently. I actually like Firebat's list better against Priest than Muzzy's. Muzzy has a lot of chunky stuff in the mid game.
Okay.
Whereas Firebat just has a bunch of additional removal or a bunch of additional disruption. I think the Iron Beak Owl is the big one. Volpir Scoundrel is another one because that can find you an out, find you a polymorph.
Muzzy has a Mossy Horror in there where Firebat does not, though, which can be useful in the matchup for sure.
Yep, that could make up for it. Muzzy does have Luna's Pocket Galaxy.
Yeah, Firebat's just not playing that card, huh?
Not playing Luna's Pocket Galaxy or Puzzle Box.
Yeah.
Muzzy's not playing Puzzle Box, but he is playing Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Yeah. Firebat says, if you have Warrior available and in your lineup, I'm probably not queuing Mage.
Yeah, fair enough.
Whereas Muzzy says, yeah, I can beat Warriors.
Faceless Rager. What a Hearthstone card.
Nice. Eddie's been bringing Faceless Rager since week 3.
Nice.
And finally, Firebat's realized how good it is.
Has he not had it in his previous weeks?
I don't think Firebat's had it in his previous weeks.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I remember Eddie being one of the only ones.
Cards? Question mark? Cards or tempo? The eternal question.
Cards.
Yeah.
That Faceless Rager, though, he can get cards next turn.
Faceless Rager is big.
But if he doesn't get cards now, he may never get cards.
Yes.
Your rage sustains me.
Muzzy's asleep.
Quick, someone wake him up. It's his turn.
Someone wake up Muzzy.
This is important.
He's powered down.
What to do? What to do?
Call Muzzy. He's sleeping.
Ooh, greedy, greedy boy from Muzzy. Kind of respect it, though. Zephyrus is super powerful in the matchup.
Do you respect it now?
Yes. It's just a little topsy. It's still good. It's still good.
Do you respect it now?
And it's gone.
What about now?
Whew. Yeah, that got kind of dirty.
Maybe Muzzy was thinking, there's no way he would play Faceless Rager if he had Wild Pyromancer, Cheap Spell, plus Circle of Healing last turn.
Right.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
Okay.
Got the big one.
He did get the big one.
He has a Frost Nova, a Zephyrus, which can be a Frost Nova of its own. If he can make it to 6, he can coin Zephyrus Brawl. He then has Flame Strike to back that up.
Okay, so...
Seeing a plan come together.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's why the Zephyrus hold last turn. He's like, okay, if you draw cards, I have some follow-up.
Yeah. I think that was the point I was getting to before the turn just popped off and we marveled in its glory is like Zephyrus is super powerful in the matchup and better than an Earth Shock most of the time. It's just kind of card draw snowballs, right? Like one Earth Shock might feel like it's not having a huge effect on the game, but if it shuts down card draw, then it, you get to stretch out the rest of your resources just so much further.
Yeah. Looks like some type of Neverset Ritualist turn here.
Yeah.
Kind of don't want to trade the Wild Pyre, or don't want to heal the Wild Pyromancer just because I want it to die.
Is enough.
I think it's done its job. I think we can safely get rid of it.
Yeah, okay. I'm mad at that. Now, as described, Muzzy had... Ooh, hello. Silence just used.
Firebat.
Topsy used already.
Firebat only plays 1 Silence and 1 Topsy.
This goes off. This is guaranteed, right?
Outside of
7 Pyromancer spells.
The end is coming!
Just goes off.
Yeah. You can interfire it and make Muzzy feel worse because he lost a 7-7 instead of a 0-7.
Ah, yeah, they call that the reverse RDU.
Yeah. And if only the Twitch clip competition was active last week.
Was that last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
It may have been 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They all blend together at some point.
They do. Dude, that Doomsayer pickup was so sick.
He could coin Pocket Galaxy against Priest.
I feel like Snip Snapping might be more responsible. Maybe not. Maybe he's just going to AoE every turn until Firebat dies.
4 power in play, or every minion in your deck costs 1.
Right.
The only argument is coin expenditure. Maybe Alexstrasza makes that play a little bit less appealing.
How about a nice water elemental?
Or a true silver champion. What's the other 4-drop, 4-mana card it gives with 4 mana on an empty board?
I wonder.
Dark Iron Dwarf? Defender of Argus? I don't know about Defender of Argus. Fireball. He's kind of probably thinking through the same conundrum that we're thinking through.
Yeah.
Of, do I want power in play, or do I want the potential for really powerful turns?
He can also, his Sandbinder draws him a Siamat, right? So, like, I think that was a consideration this turn as well. He could have just gone, like, 1 Snip Snap coin Sandbinder, so he had a Siamat for next turn for, like, Rush Wind Fury or something. Or even Zephyrus in that position, but I don't think that gives you anything useful. We did learn a little while ago that if you, if it can't think of, like, 3 good cards to give you on a board state, it offers Starfall some of the time. Remember we found that in practice, and I tweeted about it?
Yeah.
Where, like...
Well, we don't know if that's why.
No, I checked.
Oh, you asked,
It's actually
okay.
why, yeah. But if it can't, like, fill in the gaps with 3 cards that actually feel relevant, it says that Starfall is, like, a very flexible card that you can use in a multitude of ways in the next turn.
Zephyrus has a personality.
Yeah.
He really likes Starfall.
He really likes Starfall, yeah.
He's like, Starfall is just my favorite card. I don't know what you want here. I'll give you my favorite card.
Life is an afterthought.
For context, if you didn't see Sottle's tweet, in our practice session, we were offered Starfall from Zephyrus in a situation where it made almost no sense.
Yeah, on the turn it was giving it to us, it was strictly worse than Stormpipe Commander. Like,
Yes.
that's the quality of card that we were dealing with.
Yeah.
I've got more left in me.
So Muzzy's plan paying off, and holding onto the coin gives him flexibility with Zephyrus Youthful Brewmaster. All right, what can we get?
Right now, Cabal Shadow Priest.
You can't brew it.
Can't bounce it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's okay. You have like Reno to bounce
What
later
to
on.
do? What to do?
Could even bounce a Snip Snap.
It's pretty strong though, right? Because the one Silence, one Toxie deck from Firebat, and they've both been used. Similar reasons to why the Doomsayer was powerful.
Yeah.
Just max tempo.
Defender of Argus.
It's actually not that bad here.
It's not great.
It's okay.
Cabal Shadow Priest is way better.
It is, I agree. But
Defender
it's-
of Argus lets you kill the Intertolvir on board.
The Defender of Argus was top half of all Defender of Arguses I've ever been offered by Zephyrus.
Maybe even top 10% at this point. That's also one of Zephyrus' favorite cards.
Yep.
All Bonsamdi at this point, I don't even know what it gives. In a Northshire Cleric and a Beaming Sidekick, I think. Oh no, there's only one Light Warner in hand. Okay, so it's actually pretty decent. It gives 3 cards. Because this is just the res cycle-pumped version of the Northshire Cleric.
Consider.
So he's only drawn one of each of the others.
Yeah, problem is he is overwhelmingly losing the board right now. And you can't do that as Priest. You just can't. You have 0 recovery mechanisms. Your recovery mechanisms are play 60 points of health in one turn and hope something sticks. It's about all you've got.
Must move quickly.
Not the draw he wanted.
Stinging for Ahmet, effectively.
Yup, stinging for Ahmet. He's also kind of, sort of representing lethal a little bit on boards. Just make Muzzy have to think about trading if he doesn't have a hard removal.
Yep, but Zephyr stuck.
Oh, yikes, it did. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No!
Is someone injured?
Oh well, who cares? Well, I mean, you know, maybe you Brewmaster for lethal in the following turn.
Yeah.
Because Firebat ain't killing it.
That is game.
Yep.
Bonsamdi draws the Cleric, but by the time you played Bonsamdi and the Cleric and healed something, when there's nothing to heal anyway, you wouldn't draw a taunt, and then you wouldn't be healing your face. I think Firebat just exploded. He's got to do defensive inner fires to try and stay alive. Okay.
He can do this and heal, and he's alive.
Then he dies to the Youthful Brewmaster!
Yes.
In the light's name.
Brewmaster tech coming in hot.
Hey, speak to me.
Oh, unforgivable mistake from Firebat. Light Warden down after the heal.
Drink with me, friend.
Super relevant in this position.
Yeah.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Firebat sitting there thinking, wait a second. I'm the one that brings Reno Mage and beats Priest.
Yeah. Muzzy doing the polite thing as well, quick as he could, slammed out the lethal card essentially, which was the Youthful Brewmaster.
Yeah.
Firebat gave it up, but it's a pretty clean win for Muzzy in the end. One really, really clutch Doomsayer draw. And I wonder, like, so what did he do with his silence? He silenced a 5/5 that killed it with a Pyromancer,
That killed it with a Pyromancer.
That's a pretty good silence. It's kind of hard to argue with that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But like, I think if you're playing one Topsy, one silence, and you've already used your Topsy in the early game to cycle a bunch of cards, like maybe your silence is just worth its weight in gold at that point, because you can see he never really recovered from the point that Doomsayer came down.
But if he leaves that 5/5 up, does he recover from that position? I guess we could argue yes, but hard to kind of have that foresight. Maybe he thinks at that point, Doomsayer plus a freeze, unlikely by the time I win the game because I've drawn all these cards.
I mean, it's a Highlander deck. Everything's unlikely, right? Like,
Yeah.
everything is equally likely and unlikely.
Yeah, like the general rule is Highlander deck, you just don't play around
Just
anything.
don't play around anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been told for so long, right? Like, oh, are you not going to play around, like, whatever? Like, no, he only plays one. Like, oh, yeah,
Highlander
okay.
deck.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, he's played 25 cards, he's got 5 cards left in his deck. Nah, don't play around it.
I only play one.
But it looks like Muzzy is on the line for an interview. Muzzy, can you hear us?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Muzz. Congrats on the win. Move up to 6-5. So pretty good for playoff position. Since this is your first match of the week, how are you feeling coming into this week overall?
I think I brought decent decks this week. They should give me a chance at, potentially going 2-0, which is my goal with playoffs winding down. And I don't know. All I can think about right now is that last game. It was so intense because I had to make the decision on whether or not to play Zephyrs on turn 2 to deal with the Cleric with like a Coin, Shadow Word Painter, and Earthshock. And I felt if I did that and he Psycho Pumps, I just fall too far behind. I don't have enough tempo to gain back. So all I was doing was holding on to the Zephyrs for a brawl. Later on in the game with the coin, with the Nova I had, the freezes, I felt like I could do that, and it only gets punished if he has Wild Pyromancer plus Spell plus Circle for all those cards, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's over. It's over. And then the Doomsayer came off the top, and I was like,
it's
he
over.
Uses Topsy. He uses Silence. Is it over?
So that was kind of the question I wanted to ask. Like, from Firebat's side, when he's playing like the one silence, one Topsy version, like I was wondering about how he used his silence. Like, it was really good. He killed a freaking 5/5 with his silence. But like, is Doomsayer just too big of a card to ignore in that situation?
Well, it's hard to say because I don't know the context of his hand in that situation. Yeah. I would say that leaving the 5/5 on the board, he had a giant board. The 5/5 could have potentially bought me enough tempo because I had Frost Nova into Freeze's board into Flame Strike, and then the 5/5 can pick up value trades potentially, or I have Zephyr's Brawl or Zephyr's other clears. So it's hard to say how the 5/5 would have worked out. I think it might have given me potentially like still a shot that game if you didn't silence it, but just the Doomsayer coming off the top, it was like, oh, I was very happy, very happy.
The juice.
The juice.
So by beating Firebat, you've kind of gained a little bit more ground in the division because he was kind of in that medium, that middle area where you were sitting. So you're safe from relegation. Now you're in a pretty good spot for playoffs. What's kind of like your motivation like moving forward? Like, are you trying to maybe go for that number 1 spot since you're only 2 matches behind now, with 3 losses being the number at the top, or are you just trying to play your best and 3rd, 4th seed is fine with you?
I mean, I think we're always vying for the number 1 spot, no matter like what position or what our records will show. Like us as GMs, we really want to succeed and do well in the game, and a loss always hurts. And every time we're trying to be number 1. So I'm definitely going to go for that spot. Like, having the motivation to go for the number 1 spot means that, number 2nd place, 3rd place in the playoffs, like that could potentially be locked up. So I think, yeah, of course, I'm always trying if it's possible. Like 3 more wins, maybe something happens.
And final question, because I've literally never seen it happen before. Is the Mossy Horror really good against Priest?
Oh, yeah. I've won like tons and tons of games off it on ladder turn 6 most of the time in that matchup. Like, they need to sort of go wide and make a wide board because you have small minions and single target removal to be able to deal with it. So when they go for a wide Amet board, that's one of the ways that it's really difficult for the Reno Mage to come back against. You either need Zephyr's Brawl or you need the muzzy Horror. So
All right.
really good in that matchup.
Because every time I see it in Grandmasters, it's a
Yeah,
dead
well,
card.
Well, Grandmasters is a sample size of like very few games compared to.
No, Muzzy. There's a lot of games at Grandmasters. We've
We've
seen
a lot of Reno Mage versus.
Yeah, we've
Priest.
seen like 6 Reno Mage games now.
Yeah, what was I like 3 of them?
Yeah, you and Firebat. That's all 6.
Hey, that was that one game RDU interfired his own Doomsayer. That was sick.
Yeah,
that
see?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your Mossy Horror now? No, I'm just kidding. Well, thanks for the insight, Muzzy. You still got one more match this week, so good luck tomorrow, and maybe we'll talk to you then.
Yeah, thanks, guys.